Hey guys, welcome back to the Writer's Room. On today's episode, we were talking about Stranger Things, Season 1.
Yes. Things get strange.
You cue the, like, wah, wah, wah.
Well, we have to do, like, one of those dramatic moments that, like, holds for way too long, and then it cuts to the credits. So, just pretend like I said something really dramatic.
Whoa.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Writer's Room. Thank you for joining us here again. I'm your host, Katie.
I am Michael.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Chrysalia, and we're coming at you from HollywoodRedux.com.
Today we're talking about Stranger Things Season 1, and we know that there's no way we could possibly talk about that in one little segment, so we're going to possibly do more. If you guys want more, just let us know in the comments below. But if you've never seen us talk about anything, we're going to spoil the hell out of it, so if you haven't seen Stranger Things, I really strongly recommend you see the show.
Do it.
It's on Netflix. Don't borrow somebody else's because it's illegal now, but
Don't share passwords, no.
but of course you can borrow somebody else's. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Do what you want, my friends.
Yeah, you know, break the law. Just do it. We didn't tell you to do it, but, you know, Stranger Things
Choose
did.
your choice.
Choose wisely.
Stranger Things made you
Spoiler
do it.
being done. Pretty much Stranger Things takes place in 1983 in Hawkins, Indiana. And it starts out pretty awesome with a escaped being of some sort that ends up taking little Will.
What?
A boy goes missing in
Relax.
that same night, and a strange girl arrives in this little town.
Hmm.
And pretty much everybody you meet in this town, from the sheriff or the chief of police to his mother to all of his friends and schoolmates and 11, who is the girl who shows up, all have to go to a alternate reality or an alternate world, universe, to get him back.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best description I could give the show without going on for 2 hours because it's super dense.
It's true.
Yeah, so
Great
if
show.
that's like the kind of surface story, that's like the summary of events, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the other side of the story, the upside down of the story,
Yes, that's the
Of the
alternate
story.
universe, the Upside Down, obviously.
yeah, if you
If you've seen the show.
yeah, it's essentially like a reading of the story as like what the messages tell you about it, basically. I like to talk about it. I think it's fun. So this story is really about Mike. It's about the character of Mike. It's his story.
Yeah.
All these people that populate this little town in a very cool Twin Peaksian
Mhm.
fashion.
Yeah.
Like this show, sidebar, owes a lot to, I think, Twin Peaks and like the X-Files.
Oh man, I would
Stephen
say
King.
X-Files, Stephen King,
Like a
Stanley
Stephen King
Kubrick,
episode of the X-Files.
Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg. I mean, it was
A
like
lot of 80s references.
we actually posted on our Facebook page a like side-by-side comparison,
Oh.
so we don't have to say all
It's
those
cool,
things.
yeah, I like
But
to watch
check that out. It's like
Watch that,
13 minutes of
please.
pure reference shots from like the Goonies to
Uh-huh.
E.T., Close
So good.
Encounters, everything. It's really cool.
Ouch.
But please continue.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's
Yeah.
cool.
It's super
that was
cool.
it was my sidebar.
Yeah.
I sided the bar. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the reading of like that invisible story is a story about Mike coming of age. It's set in late November, which is like the before the winter, which seasons you can read as.
I think November 16th. I could be wrong, but I
Okay,
think
yeah.
November 16th
So November,
is when it starts.
but it's approaching the end of the year, the death of the year.
Yeah.
So the character is 11, which is when that's like a coming of age of sorts in your life, where you kind of decide to go down one path or the other. It's a big choice time. And when that happens, something dies in another thing, and is reborn in another thing, in another part of you. So he's approaching the death of this part of his childhood, some aspect of his childhood that he's going to leave behind at the end of this story, and go onward with new knowledge, with new personhood.
Right.
So that's what the story is.
Like, did anybody else feel throughout this thing, so
There's a lot of feelings, man.
yeah, there's a
The
ton of
show.
feelings, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of like cool stuff like that, but like, man, this show for me, like, I just couldn't help but feeling that like there were setups for things that like they always kept the mystery there. Like, for instance, like Mike, you know, he's standing out in his driveway, and the lights flicker around him, and almost everything he described in his D&D game happened in the story.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like somehow Mike, you know, is, like, there's more to Mike. Like, he has that, like, maybe he drew all of this from his mind.
It's the people in this town, I started to say before in the side part, the
Yeah.
people in the town all represent some aspect of Mike himself. So you have both light and dark of both. It's actually pretty balanced. There's a lot of dualities, which is nice. You have a light mother and a dark mother, which in both light and dark, there's aspects of both, and then you have a light father and a dark father, and you see both aspects of those represented. And a lot of the time what's cool in the story is like the dark, what you think is the dark character, like Joyce, because she's kind of like, you know, got these problems.
Yeah.
And Lonnie is the worst. But she turns out to be light because she comes through in the end.
Just reminded me of Ted. I think Ted is, like, no joke, he's like the Randy from South Park of the show. But, like, for me, Ted was the most grounded in the 80s character I've ever seen in, like, a retro show.
Yeah.
Like, his wardrobe, his attitude of, like, just when they're, like, looking out the window at the government, they're like, he's like, honey, it's our government. We can trust them. Like, I was like, holy shit.
That was the dark father.
Yeah.
The dark father was the dark father.
He was
Nailed
so
it.
perfect.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, this is the most 80s character I've ever seen. Like, straight up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Start. For sure.
And then of course you had the Modine character, who
Yeah.
was so sinister.
Brenner?
Yeah, the CSM of this particular story.
Yeah, you know, and, like, I honestly thought, like, for a long time, we didn't know his name. So, like, we just kept calling him Modine.
Modine!
So every time he'd come on, it was kind of just like an eagle cry, you know? Modine! You know, like, because he always just, like, was walking so, like, just elegantly, I guess.
No,
through
he was
everything.
CSM, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
he definitely was CSM.
I love the use, like, just the overall look of this show is super cool. Like, I mean, super 80s, like, Spielberg fog at night, and giant shafts of light, giant flashlights, and, like, always, like, all the kids, like, how they respected their bikes, like, you know, like, even the cops said it, like, look, these are, like, Cadillacs to these kids. He wouldn't have just left it here. You know,
kids.
Can we talk about how these kids are, like, amazing actors on this show?
Yeah, the young actors in this are incredible. Yeah.
Dude,
They
talk
were
about
not annoying children.
No,
they nailed the roles. They were fantastic. Like,
yeah, like, I know Mike is going to be in the new It movie. Yeah,
that's cool.
He's going to be in It.
Oh, I'm excited
or is
about
it
that.
Will?
No,
I think it's Mike. Yeah,
it's Mike.
He's going to be in the new It movie, and I really wish they just kind of wipe clear the rest of the cast. Sorry, kids, but, like, I just want the whole child cast from Stranger Things to be in the It remake.
That would be
they were
a
awesome.
smart move. Everyone
Yeah.
already identifies this as a very Stephen King-like.
Yeah, I mean, they even
production.
mentioned it in the show.
Exactly.
You read any Stephen King? Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, yes.
Yeah, there were some fun references.
There was
like
some great
there's that
stuff.
Evil
So many
Dead
references.
poster and
Yeah.
Jonathan Byers'
Jaws,
Spectrum.
Evil
Yeah.
Dead, like, I mean, there were so many posters, and almost The Thing I saw, like, every kid had a badass movie poster in their room.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dreamers. Good dreamers.
And
Yeah.
good music.
Dreamers.
David Bowie.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's about good choices.
Oh.
Dreamers. Yeah, so,
Dreamers.
you know,
dude, I was
it was
really
like our childhood.
that
Yeah.
the actress Millie Bobby Brown, who plays Levin,
Yep.
actually shaved her head for the role. Like,
They didn't ask her to do it?
no, they did.
Oh,
Here's,
okay.
here's how it worked out. The brothers actually showed that Millie Mad Max and showed her,
Furiosa.
yeah, and
Nice.
how, like, pretty much badass this person is, like, bald and stuff, and that pretty much convinced her to just buzz it off.
Buzz it
and
off.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Shirley.
I think that was, like,
Honestly, I saw, like, a lot of, like, young Natalie Portman in her.
Yeah,
You know,
I saw
like-
that too.
love it.
V.
She
Such
was
a good character.
so much with such, like, you know, she barely had anything to say throughout the whole show, and, like, that character was just amazing.
Yeah,
All-
I
they
don't know.
all
Like,
were.
I didn't love her writing all the time. Like, I really liked her character in general, what she represented.
Yeah.
You know, for that boy, like that representation of in Psyche or whatever, like the
Mhm.
part that fights the monster.
Mhm.
And I thought she was a great actor too, but I thought, you know, sometimes there were some really hokey lines she had, like, what is friendship? Like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, there was a little bit where I was just like, do better.
I did love that she loved Eggo waffles.
Oh my god, that was the best.
Probably the most popular, like, kids treat in the 80s growing up. There was not a house that did not have Eggo waffles in it.
She just steals a whole armful.
'Cause
Oh man,
why
that
not?
scene
Like, oh
was
my
amazing.
ego.
Why not? Yeah.
Glass breaks.
I love how like when 11 like gets hard, like she just like bloody nose every time, like just badass. You knew when she was like doing some crazy shit, and like I'm actually glad she just didn't kill the store owner, like the store manager. The whole time I was like, oh man, he's dead. Like she's just gonna like snap his neck. I was like, thank God, she's good. She's good.
Well,
Yeah.
she never wanted to hurt anybody. She didn't even want to hurt the cat. She wouldn't even hurt a cat.
Like her powers were badass. Her flipping
Holy
the van.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you guys!
So cool.
Like
flipping the van, like how about
She
like
was
destroying all those people in the hallway at the end, like just bleeding from everything. Although it brought the monster, which was also cool and played by a real person, so that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a Guillermo del Toro type monster to me.
Yeah.
yeah.
It did. I mean, it felt like Silent Hill a lot. I mean, especially like
the particles.
Yeah,
floating
everything
through the
floating
air.
and it just being kind of dark. Like it was just missing an air raid siren, But like, but I just loved it. It was very Silent Hill-y to me. It also reminded me of like Resident Evil. Like, I mean, just like the way the mouth opened up and everything. Like, the character design on that is really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the jump scares very much throughout that.
Yeah, it was really scary.
Those genuine jump scares where I'm like, holy crap! Did not see that coming.
Not very
Like-
happy. Not very happy when like you're sitting. Oh, I love it. It's great. But like I jumped every jump scare got me.
Yeah.
Especially when she
Nailed it.
reaches out
Out of the tree.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Fantastic.
I like to be surprised. I was
Oh, yeah.
surprised.
I was surprised a ton in this show.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't-
Well, mainly, we were, especially you, Katie, you were rooting for Barb.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, Barb.
Hashtag Barbara things.
I mean, that was my
Barbara.
chief complaint, really, with the story overall, is that, it is the story of Mike, and he's finding this harmony inside himself with his male and female aspects,
Mhm.
and that's terrific. But the female characters weren't terribly served well,
Yeah, I agree with
you
that,
follow
yeah.
their stories through. Their arcs are a little bummer-y.
Yeah.
And, like, not that fun to watch, maybe? Like, I was waiting for Nancy's story to subvert me, and I was really praying for Barb's story to subvert me. I was ready to see Barb, like, reborn as this warrior of the other side, transformed. I don't know. Anything. I mean, maybe not that. Who knows? That might be stupid. But anything other than, like, the really bummer ending
she's just
that
dead.
she got.
There's a centipede crawling out of her mouth.
When she was great, she was such a great character, and she had a lot to offer. I mean, I felt like she was the Dustin of the Lady Brigade, and it's sad that we're having this conversation about her, and we're going to have another conversation about Dustin, who everybody loved. He's a great character.
Yeah, I was saying this. Well, at least she made it through 5 episodes.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we at least got her for 5 episodes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there were great surprises, but some of the the storylines for the ladies, and I don't think also that the queer community was represented in the film at all very much, or maybe some are saying Barb could be that, but
then you killed your only gay character off.
But then
yeah.
we're back on the same conversation again. So, I mean, I think that's like, some negatives.
Hashtag Barb's still out there.
Barbara things!
Barbara
Yeah.
things.
Barbara
Even there's some
things.
great, people are paying homage to Barb in wonderful ways on the internet.
She's so
Yeah.
loved
Barbara
on the internet.
things.
She's
There's
a
so many
great,
good
she's a fun
posters.
character, yeah.
Seriously.
I loved all this, and like we didn't even get to touch on
She
like
lives. Barb lives.
that was about to sound terrible. We didn't even get to touch on the younger boys. But like the younger kids, like the whole gang were amazing. I mean, their chemistry from the beginning to the end was great.
Yeah.
They
Great.
reminded me when I was a kid and I lived far from my friends and we had walkie-talkies. Like,
Yeah.
we always rode our bikes everywhere. It was just what you
Go
did.
on adventures.
And like
All the
the
time.
fact that they played D&D, and hopefully that makes D&D a lot cooler to kind of mainstream folks who thinks it's just like a nerdy
Please.
game.
Please.
Which it is, but I love playing it.
Get into
Oh, I love D&D, but I just think people who like D&D will like it, and people who don't like D&D won't like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, Luke Casey. We need our dungeon master back here,
Professional
and we need
dungeon
to do
master.
this.
Who Casey?
Play.
So I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface on Stranger Things season 1, but we're out of time. So if you'd like to hear us talk some more about Stranger Things, we're happy to talk about it plenty more. Just let us know in the comments below. For the Writers Room, I am Matt. You can find me on social media at Splashdown1.
I'm Chrysalia. You can find me at Chrysalia on social medias.
I'm Katie. I'm at Kimmels.
And I am Michael, and you can find me at What the Hess.
And of course, we're coming to you from HollywoodRedux.com, where you can find all of our other shows like the IGL podcast and the K-Files. Also, we have lots of shorts coming up, lots of giveaways coming up, so stay tuned for any quick little ads we might throw up on our social media. And be sure to subscribe below to all of our
Click the button.
videos and our channel right here. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you think in the comments. Did we miss
Thumbs up would
anything?
be nice.
I've loved
Did you miss Barb as much as we did? Let us know.
Hashtag
Hashtag Barbara things.
Yeah.
As she lives.